City Council meeting of Monday, November 18, 2019. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Okay. Albertson?
Here.
Bueller? Here. Hoyer?
Here.
Helene? Here. Lallam?
Here.
Manti? Absent. Rademski?
Here.
Roby?
Here.
Vilhauer? Here. Y? Absent. Thank you.
First item on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda. I have a motion by Helene and a second by Rademski. Any discussion? Councilman Roby?
I'd just like to make a comment on item 1G. Dave Johnson of Reliabank approached me about the bill. His IT tech specialist is helping out with the city, and they're doing so pro bono. So I just want to recognize Reliabank and Mr. Volks and Mr. Johnson for their consideration.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that very much. Adam, did you have something? Councilman Lallam?
Yeah, on E, was that put out to the public for bid?
Yes, it was advertised.
Okay, because on there is some employees that purchase stuff. I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that that was put out to public.
Anything else? Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Item number 2 is public comment period. Is there anyone here would like to speak about something in the open?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Most of the all the council Park and Rec Board received that we are doing that demonstration with Alltech on the grapple saw tomorrow at 10 a.m. We are currently monitoring with this water to make sure we can get on the golf course without causing complete rutting. If it happens, it will happen. We may choose another location. And first thing in the morning, you would receive a blind copy email.
And your name, sir? Terry Kelly?
Terry Kelly, Park and Rec. Yeah, I know Dan was pointing to himself as well. So
I think members of the press might be planning to come watch that, so if you could include them on that.
Yes, absolutely. We'll do the full media notification.
Yes,
So.
that'd be good. Councilman Vilhauer?
Terry, I had sent you an email about possibly videoing that.
Yes.
Have you reached out to the IT department? Or where?
Spencer and I discussed a little bit, and as far as the true video capability, I think with the new iPhones, we probably capture just as good a video as. So yes, we do have I have a person assigned for just videoing for future, whether it's the county or anybody else to do that. So
sounds good. Thank you.
You bet.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak about something in the public comment period? Well, I would like to speak about something in the open period, and I see that Executive Directress Jan DeBerg of the Watertown Area Community Foundation is here. Would you please come forward? This may be old news for some people. Come on up here. We need to say thank you. The Community Foundation has made a wonderful gift to the city of Watertown in the amount of $500,000 to go toward the downtown park, which we hope to name Watertown Area Community Foundation Park. That might get shortened a little bit, but I just want to say thank you very much. This generous gift is going to make a wonderful park happen in our downtown, and we do appreciate it so much. Thank you. Let's give her a hand. Yeah. Anyone else who would like to speak in the open? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Item number 3 is approval of the agenda.
So moved.
A motion by Vilhauer, a second by Lallam. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Item 4 is the first reading of ordinance number 19-14, amending section 14.0203 of the revised ordinances of the City of Watertown to remove green ash as a permitted tree variety. And this is just a first reading, so there's no action, but I'd like the City Attorney, Matt Roby, to comment on this.
Thanks, Mayor. I was contacted a little while back by Terry Kelly and Matt Branchard in the Park Department. They had noticed that under 140203, green ash was still a permitted tree that could be planted in our rights of way and other publicly owned areas with subject to certain permission from the Park Board. And it just made sense that since we're discussing how to potentially get rid of a whole swath of ash trees because of the impending emerald ash borer, that we shouldn't be continuing to permit the green ash to be planted. So that's what you see in front of you here, and TK, if you have anything to add.
All right, thank you. Councilman Vilhauer?
Just one clarification. I assume in the board that's being referenced is the Park and Recreation Board. It just says board without any explanation as to what board we're referring to. You may want to clarify that unless it's understood some other way.
Or further in the ordinance, up above in the ordinance, it's defined.
Okay.
Board
Okay.
is defined.
Okay. Thank
Title
you.
14 is the Park, Recreation, and Forestry. So, all right, anyone else? Item number 5 is approval of resolution of acceptance for the development improvements for 26th Street Southeast from Highway 212 to 8th Avenue Southeast, located in East Park Development, installed on behalf of the developer Coho Inc. I have a motion by Lallam.
Second.
And a second by Albertson. Heath, would you please explain this?
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. Members of council, if you recall, in some recent development discussions that we've had on some of the processes and procedures, this is an action item before you tonight that is closing out a portion of work within a subdivision in Watertown. And this includes the work that was done on 26th Street Southeast at the intersection with Highway 212. It's in the Travs Outfitter area. If you recall, a year ago, I brought forward to you the acceptance of 8th Avenue Southeast, and that paving and that project had been done and in place long enough that we took it as full acceptance without warranty. This portion, however, had just been paved, and we wanted to ensure that we got the 1-year warranty out of it. That your warranty has now passed. Staff has made inspections of these improvements and find that they all meet our specifications. Everything's in good shape and is ready to issue this resolution of acceptance to get it off the developer's books and formally onto ours.
All right, thank you. Councilman Lallam?
I was wondering if IT could roll that screen up a little bit to the drawing of that, so, or Heath, if you have that one, Heath? Just to show, keep going down to where the actual map is, so people see where that is located at. That's the intersection there right at Travs where the box culvert was placed, correct?
That is correct. So the blue portion is technically what we're accepting here through this resolution. I will note the little bit of pavement to the north of that up through 8th, that was already accepted with 8th. And subsequent to this, we will have action for the rest of 26 where it runs further north and ties into Willow Creek Drive at a later date.
It's paved this year though, correct? So it'll be next year sometime?
Exactly. First lift has just been paved this year. They'll pave the second lift next year, at which time we'll issue a certificate of completion. And then a year after that, we'll do the formal acceptance of that segment.
So that's a two-year process, so,
Yes, approximately.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Councilman Roby?
Heath, in light of what we went through up in Northridge, where we accepted roads some years ago that weren't up to snuff, and we really paid for that one heavily, I think. I read the resolution, we're checking these out, so barring any unforeseen circumstances, obviously we're confident the road meets all specifications. Would you maybe just make a comment on what we're doing differently so we don't end up with another Northridge?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So the perspective I would have in looking at this differently is, one, the simplicity of just following the process of making a final inspection on the work and taking it to council as part of that process. I don't know as though that had been done in the past, like on Northridge several years ago, if we were making any final inspections on these subdivision improvements. prior to that even, whether we were making any inspections on the actual physical construction work that was being done. Where we're at today with staff, we're popping in on these sites. We're there at the critical components. We do what's called a proof roll before the pavement goes down. We're looking for soft spots in the base course, for example, looking for any premature failure indicators while the construction's going on. And then subsequent to everything being complete, staff is out there, they're inspecting everything. They're making sure that the concrete curb and gutter doesn't have premature cracking in it. They're making sure there isn't any rutting or failure in the asphalt already or things like that. And that all the utilities are installed appropriately and accessible to utility staff. That all the sanitary sewer pipes are clean, free of debris. Storm sewer pipes are clean and free of debris and things of that nature. So when we bring it to you, as in this stage, we're confident that everything is set in place, ready for us to take over ownership and maintenance of that utility without a heavy burden on the city.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Item 6 is authorization to approve the renewal for workers' compensation policy for 2020 and authorization for the finance officer to issue a special check. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Lallam,
Second.
second by Albertson. And Kristen, will you please tell us about this?
Thank you, Mayor. It is that time, again, to look at our work comp renewal. As you can see, well, you probably can't see, but the amount that you're authorizing is for the city to pay $253,527. This is actually a decrease from the previous year. It's a savings of about $38,000 in total. Between the city and municipal utilities, we are saving $52,000. A lot of that has to do with the change in the modifier, and we've had a couple really good years as far as our work comp. So we're seeing that in our premium going down. But this has also been sent to utilities for review, and they are fine with all the numbers as well. So this check will actually be cut on the 1st of January. If there's any questions, I can answer them.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Councilman Vilhauer?
I've got a question or two and a comment. We always get audited for the previous year, correct? So 2018, has that been, have we?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Nope.
Okay, okay. So that's in the works yet?
Yep.
That's my only question and a comment. Talking about tree removal, take a look at that rate column. I thought that really jumped. I mean, we've been hearing about how dangerous removing trees or working with trees are. That is by far the highest rate, other than reserve police, which we don't have any covered payroll. That is by far the highest rate that we pay in the city is for tree work.
It is. The forestry department, yep.
There you have it. Big safety concern. Other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Item 7 is old business. Is there any old business? Councilman Roby?
As you all know, I've committed to some constituents up in Ward A on Cherry Drive to bring up that issue every week, and I recognize there's some humor in their repetition, but also it is a serious issue, specifically for those residents. So again, just would like Heath, if you do a brief update, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely, Councilman Roby. I would report similar findings as the last council meeting that we had. We are still defining the grading plans and finalizing those, working with the developer to the north on an amended development agreement and partnering with their grading to incorporate the grading in this channel. And then, of course, the biggest thing is getting this formal submittal to the Corps of Engineers for their check off on our grading project. So once I have those first two components in place, or perhaps even tandem with the submittal to the Corps of Engineer, I just want to make sure that we've got a solid grading plan, working with the developer to the north and trying to gain some efficiencies in combining those projects, which will help our costs be reduced as well as theirs. So trying to do it in the most efficient and effective manner, and we do still need to get the Corps of Engineers check off.
Anything else, Councilman Vilhauer?
A couple of quick items. One, at the last meeting, we had talked about forming a committee to look at unpaved alley and roads in the community. Have any of us stepped forward? I mean, where are we at
Yes, the
with that?
committee is formed, and it includes Councilman Bueller, Councilman Rademski and Councilman Hoyer, along with the street superintendent, Rob Bainan, and the Public Works Director, Heath Von Eye, and anyone else that Heath wants to put on there. And being without an assistant at the moment, I'm deferring for the scheduling of the first meeting, which I don't think has happened yet, but Heath, I'm sure will.
Okay, thank you. Second item, I was expecting to see on the agenda tonight, because we've talked about it a couple different times, discussion, I guess I'm looking at Park and Rec and TK, about the AZA accreditation issue. That didn't happen tonight, obviously, or isn't going to happen tonight?
No, we do, but Chris and I have worked together. We will be on the December 2nd finance agenda. I spoke with Mr. Miller and the zoo staff to make sure that presentation is final with firm facts and numbers for you. So plan on Chris, December 2nd at finance.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other old business? Any new business? Councilman Vilhauer?
I don't want to put him on the spot, but I see our Chief McPeak is here. I was going to mention this by myself, but as long as he's here, I'd like to have you discuss briefly the 211 helpline. I know the presentation at the commissioners meeting last week, and I think we all received an email about it here 4 or 6 weeks ago, whatever it was. Lee, do you want to say a few words about that?
I was able to sit in on the meeting they had up there at the hospital. They've got some financial support for that product, and I think it would be a good thing for our community. It's just another resource that people can remember that number easily instead of a 1-800 whatever number for a crisis line or another city number that they have to remember. Just 211, a lot of information there. It's only as good as we make it, so they come into your town, they get all the information that you want them to have. If you have high winds go through and a bunch of branches go down, you tell that 211 who to call. They know all the resources for Watertown. So it really helps take some of the burden and the stress off the 911 center, because we do take some 911 calls that maybe don't need to be, but for the most part we take them on our 6210, just our regular business line, and so they're busy taking that call as opposed to some other calls. So I think it would really take some of the strain off of the 911 center as well.
Just to put some dollars to it, because one of the first things is what's it going to cost, is that, according to your email, it was like $26,000 per year, but then there's a grant that pays for half of that.
Yeah, the state, I think it's through the, I can't remember, do you remember, you have the email there? It was through the Department of
Social Services.
Social Services is going to take half of that cost right away to any community that implements it, so that leaves the city with the rest.
Oh, I'm sorry. But then I also understand that the county is looking at getting involved.
Yes, they are.
The hospitals looking at getting involved, the community foundation, their support there.
Right.
So when we spread the cost around, it becomes very minimal to any one particular entity. I guess I'd like to see us, if, I don't think we need to actually amend our budget, but if we can find some place within our budget to pay for our portion, I'd like to see us move forward with this idea.
And I know the county was looking at trying to maybe fund that themselves, but they were going to reach out to the city at some point if they needed help. I know Lee Gable was at that meeting, as well as Brenda, and Troy's here too as a commissioner, so maybe he knows what the county's position is. But I know they were talking about maybe trying to take care of that themselves with the hospital, but possibly reach out to the city for some help as well.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you, Lee.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Is there any other new business? Any liaison reports? See none. We do have a reason to go into executive session for both for personnel matters and contractual matters in accordance with SDCL 1-25-2. And so I'll look for a motion to have a motion by Lallam and a second by Bueller to go into executive session. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Oh, we will not be taking any action when we come out.